Welcome to Pioneers in Payments, where payments experts share their insights. Now, here's our host, Donna Blum.
Hello, everyone. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Dale Laszig from the Green Sheet. Welcome, Dale.
Hi, Donna. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for your time today. Dale, would you mind just starting off by telling us a little bit about yourself, your background in the payments industry, and the Green Sheet?
Absolutely, Donna. When I think back to the early days of my career, it was also the early days of our industry. And I got into our industry by answering a classified ad. And the company, it just said a Fortune 500 company. I didn't even know who it was. It turned out to be Brown-Forman Enterprises, one of the earliest ISOs. Wow. And I was in Southern California at the time. And I just had a fantastic time learning about technology, which was very basic back in the day, and going around to restaurants and hotels and retailers, all of whom were very familiar with Brown-Forman. But sometimes when I would call on a merchant, they would mistakenly send me to the beverage manager. But anyway, it was great fun. And I went on to open different markets for the company. I eventually moved over to the technology side, and I worked for major manufacturers. And then I became more and more involved in writing about the different initiatives that I had been involved in. And I found out that I just really loved to write about it. And I approached the Green Sheet and I said, if you ever have an opening, I would love to be part of your editorial staff. And they said, you're absolutely insane. You're making great money. And I just said, listen, I really would like to be with you. So they kind of gave me a shot as a contributing writer. And I really enjoyed that. And then it just deepened my resolve to get even more involved. And eventually they did have an opening. And I joined them in 2014. And the Green Sheet has also been on a very long journey from early days in our industry. It was started by Paul Green, and he was one of the earliest feet on the street. And as we evolved as an industry, the magazine also evolved, and it became a bigger and bigger platform, not just for feet on the street and merchant acquirers, but just for every facet of the payment value chain. And I'm very proud to say that today we reach an audience that's global, and we have digital subscribers everywhere in the world. And our newswire picks up releases from absolutely everywhere. And I cover a technology beat, which has always been my love. And it's just been a great ride.
Well, thank you for that background. That's a great story. You identified what you love to do, and then you went after a job so you could do it. Fantastic. And I love the Green Sheet too. Every time I pick it up and read through it, I always learn so much, and I appreciate your contributions to the Green Sheet, and also the articles that you've done where you featured BHMI. So appreciate that too. Well, Cheryl, my first question for you, and I kind of have like some standard questions, so our audience is going to be accustomed to the flow of this, but my first question for you is the most notable trend right now in the payments industry. What are you seeing as the most notable trend?
Wow, what an amazing question. You know, when I think about all of the different trends that we're seeing that compete for our attention on a daily basis, buy now, pay later, cryptocurrency, security standards. And I look at all of that. As a journalist, I try to step back from it a little bit and break it down. And I guess what I would really have to say is, I think that if you take a long view of our industry, we've always been on a journey of embeddedness. Mm. And ironically, as we progress, the words that we use remain the same. And if you said embedded to someone, depending on where they sit in the value chain, it could mean something very different, to somebody who's in buy now, pay later. It could mean embedded finance. And for somebody else who's in the equipment manufacturing space, it could mean a very embedded technology or software. But when I think about where we've come from, in the early days, we would have standalone equipment. And I guess you could say the first time we ever embedded anything was when we put software into a terminal. And then we just kept going. Eventually, we embedded a pin pad in a terminal. And then we went on to semi-integration. And then we got into heavy industrialized integrated systems. But then we lightened them up by attaching them to the cloud. And then we had cloud hybrid. And so as we just continue to develop, it's always about bringing it in, making it integrated, but even going beyond integration. I think one of the things that we talk about all the time is the idea of seamless, frictionless commerce. What does that really mean? We don't want to see the seams. We want to have a perfect integration. And that perfect integration exists when you fully embed something. And that's the moment that we're in right now, where we have these magical experiences. For a while, we were saying payments is invisible. And it really is. If you think about it, that part of payments that we knew of people walking up to a counter to check out, that may still be there, but it's one small facet of what we're dealing with today. So, I mean, that's a very long answer, but I would say embeddedness is a very big trend that just keeps getting bigger.
Yes, I've heard a lot about embeddedness, so thank you. So the next question is sort of a little bit in line with that. So there's a lot of organizations out there who are processing payments, and this can be a difficult landscape for them to navigate. What would you say the greatest opportunity is for those organizations today?
I think what we're doing right now, I think having a conversation, getting together, sharing knowledge, sharing information, I see so much more interaction than ever before in our industry. And I think that in many ways, it reflects how interoperable we're becoming with our technology. Mm-hmm. And I would encourage everyone, just get involved. If there's a request for comment period from one of the global standard bodies, become part of that conversation. Mm. If you have a chance to go to a meetup, just go and network, and you'll come away invigorated with new ideas and new information. And I think the more that we talk to each other, the closer we'll get to that nirvana of interoperability and open source, where everybody's involved and payments are becoming more and more real-time, agile, secure, intelligent. That's really where I see it happening. I see it happening as we become a global community. Mm. I just encourage people to be part of that and to meet other people in the physical world, because so much of what we're doing is digital.
Right. Well, and opportunities like this, I mean, you and I are sitting in separate states, but yet we're having this dialogue. Technology is great for that. So it is a fantastic opportunity. So Dale, we just talked about the greatest opportunity. What do you see as the biggest challenge?
Well, Donna, I think that anything that impedes our progress toward becoming a global, interoperable, cross-border, connected fintech community, I would say is an obstacle. And I think that might look like proprietary software. It might look like any kind of gap. It also could look like a technology handoff, because as everybody knows, anytime that you have a handoff, you have a vulnerability. You have an opportunity for a malicious actor or somebody else to get into the mix. I would say anything that distracts or interrupts our journey as a inclusive fintech community is something that is an obstacle that we have to address. And I think we've also done a great job addressing that.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Well, I have one last question for you,
Sure.
and that's, where are we heading as an industry? What's next?
Well, to just keep with that embedded theme, I think that we're going to have a moment, and I think that in some ways it's already happening, where you and I and all of the different payments industry stakeholders from all the different facets of our industry, it's time for us to leave the mothership and go out in the world and becomes part of something that's bigger. There's a bigger game out there, and it might be the retail ecosystem. It could be hospitality. It could be the Internet of Things, or it could be all of those things. But I think it's inevitable, after 2 or 3 decades of building capabilities, that we'll finally get to a point where we're bored just working out in front of a gym mirror. We just want to go out in the world and be part of something bigger. And I think this is a very exciting time for our industry, because I already see it happening.
I do too. I think that's great. Thank you for that. Well, Dale, I want to make sure that our viewers know how to learn more about the Green Sheet. Would you like to share a little information there?
Absolutely. So we have greensheet.com is our website. And we have a newswire where we share press releases every day. You can send your press release to press@greensheet.com, and we'll post it on the newswire for the world to see. And we have breaking news coming out several times a week. We have company profiles. We also have a digital edition that you can find on the top navigation bar. You can see a flip book or an HTML, and that comes out every 2 weeks. I would definitely encourage you to check us out online. You can also reach me at dale@greensheet.com.
Thank you so much, Dale. I really appreciate your time and your insights today. And I just want to also thank everybody for watching. Have a great day.
Thank you,
Bye now.
Donna.
You're welcome. Bye now.
Bye-bye.